If you're looking for the best brands to sell in 2024, then this video is going to be for you. Hey, I'm Lee Meyer, and I'm the founder of Listing of Freedom and the Empowered Reseller. And I help clothing resellers make more money without hustling harder. Let's get started. So I've made over $100,000 net profit selling used clothes on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And one of the biggest questions that I always get asked is, what brands should I look for? What brands are the best brands to sell? And we're going to be uncovering all of that in this video. I'm going to be walking you through 20 of my favorite brands this year to be reselling on whatever platform that you are on. And rather than telling you about the brands that you probably already know, like Patagonia and Pendleton and the North Face, we're going to be talking about some of those other brands. Now, this is in no way the best 20 brands out of all the brands out there. Best is very, very subjective. Best could be, okay, the highest value of brands that you're never going to find. It could be best as in items that you're going to find regularly, but you're not going to make as much profit on. Best is totally subjective. I've picked these out based off of brands that I find on at least a somewhat regular basis. There's probably not going to be, one single brand that you're coming across every single time that you source. And so I've kind of hand selected these to be able to balance out brands that you're going to find somewhat regularly, along with brands that are going to give you a good amount of profit. Real quick before we get started, if you would love for me to make more videos about brands to resell, give me a thumbs up so that I know to bring more content to you like this. Also, if you have not yet grabbed my free 100K brand list, I have that available to you. You'll find the link in the description below this video, and I'll send that to you right away. These are all of the brands that I source and sell on a regular basis. They're the same brands that have led me to make over $100,000 selling used clothes. And I should have mentioned the best part. That list is absolutely free, my gift to you. Also, real quick, I'd love to hear from you before we get started. If you could drop an A in the comments and let me know, hey, I'm the type of person that loves to source. I have plenty of sourcing opportunities. I have things stacking up at my house. Comment with an A. Or maybe you're a B person. Comment with a B and say, hey, I'm looking for more items to be able to source to resell. Let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear from you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And I just want to reiterate that this is in no way an exhaustive or complete list. This is not, the only 20 brands that you should be sourcing. And if you're saying, hey, I would love to be able to have gobs more of brands to be able to source for my business, I do have an amazing resource that you will want to check out that goes in depth on over 750 different clothing and clothing related brands. It's called Big Money Brands, and I will leave a product link for you right here. First up, we've got Soft Surroundings. This is a women's brand, and they sell higher end items. The shirts and dresses are going to sell for in the $20 to $40 range, or maybe even a little bit more. Dresses are going to be the higher end side of it, like this dress that sold for $36. This is a blouse that sold for $40 and another one that sold for $35. Now, what you're going to want to look for with this brand, especially, is with the bigger sizes. The bigger sizes do tend to sell faster, as well as for more money. This is what that tag looks like. And if you happen to come across any plus sizes in this brand, that is a yes to sourcing them. Next up is Duluth Trading Company. Now, this is one of my favorite workwear style of brands to come across. The shorts, men's shorts, will sell for around $20 to $30, and this is a pair that sold for $26 to give you an idea of what they look like. And then this is a pair of pants that sold for $35. Now, this particular pair of pants is a style that's called Flex Fire Hose, and you will know this because it says right inside the pants, which resellers love when brands put what the name is. So it makes it super easy to be able to find them, to identify them, and then get them listed and sold to the right person. So they will say Flex Fire Hose. Flex Fire Hose style does come in pants as well as shorts. but this does tend to be one of their better sellers. Next up is Torrid. Now this is a mall brand. Most mall brands you want to stay away from, but with Torrid, because it's plus size and their clothes are really, really cute and they're pretty well made for a mall brand, this brand will tend to sell in the $20 to $30 range. There's going to be items that sell for a little bit less than that. There's going to be some items that sell for more than that, but a lot of them are selling in that $20 to $30 range. This dress is a good example of an item that sold for a little bit more than that, because dresses in general tend to be a little bit higher value dollar item, and it's a current style. So that one sold for $40. Now this one is just a simple tank top. It is a 3X. That one sold for $20. And then their jeans, I always pick these up. This is a pair that sold for $24 plus shipping. And just in case you haven't seen one of these tags before, this is what it looks like. And as a little side note, the tags will not say plus size. They will not have an X on them or a W on them, like a 20W or a 3X. They will simply say 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Next up is a woman-owned activewear brand called Title IX. Now these tags can be a little bit easy to miss. So this is what it looks like. It's dots, 9 dots, and there's a T made in the solid dots. The resale value on this brand does tend to be on the higher side. It does hold its value really well, and a lot of the items will sell in that $20 to $40 range. This is a button-up shirt that sold for $30, and then this is a skirt that sold for $40. And then this is just a basic pair of shorts. This one went on auction after 3 bids for $26.99. Now this next brand is one that you may not come across quite as often, but you're definitely going to want to be in the know if you see this, because this brand sells for around $100. Some items a little bit less, some maybe upwards of $150. And this brand is Farm Rio. These items are very colorful, they're very bright, they have a Brazilian vibe to them. This is a dress that sold for $125, and this is what that tag looks like. It's a very unique design of tag where there is a cutout and you can see threads behind it, if that makes sense. You can see the picture. But the other thing to be aware of is you will find items that are Farm Rio, but you will also find items that may be made for Anthropologie. Those tags will look a little bit different. They'll look something like this one. You'll also maybe come across collaborations that Farm Rio has done with companies like Adidas, and these Farm Rio Adidas collab jackets are really popular. They're the basic, track style jacket that Adidas is known for, but with the Brazilian flair of Farm Rio. This is an example of one that sold for $50. Next up is a handbag brand called Loungefly. Now you've probably seen these mini backpacks around because they are super unique. And the company has collaborations with bigger companies like Disney and Pixar and Star Wars, and you'll see elements from these brands on the bags. And so I've got a few examples of these for you. This is an Aristocats backpack. This one sold for $90. This one's a really cute Eeyore backpack with the little tail. This one sold for $56. And then there's an Emperor's New Groove backpack. This one sold for $170. And basically with this brand, with Loungefly, along with a lot of other brands like this, the more unique the item, the more money that you're going to get for it. Now, the tags will vary depending on who the collaboration was done with, but this is an example of what that Loungefly tag looks like. It is a metal rectangular emblem on the outside of bags, so it's really easy to identify it when you see these. Next up is Johnny Was. Now, you probably have heard this brand before, but I want to give you a few extra tips if you happen to come across it. Now, their shirts, their dresses, their tops, will usually almost always sell better than their bottoms. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're sourcing. The other thing to keep in mind is the type of material. Now they make a lot of items that are 100% silk, and these will usually sell for more than their items that are just say rayon. Of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, and this is an exception. This is a shirt that sold for $150. This is rayon, but I believe it sold for that much because of the design, because of that embroidery that is on it. This is another really unique design that has carousel horses on it, and this one sold for $175. Dresses are another great item. These are going to sell for $100 to $200 in used condition. Also, they're kimonos. Now, a lot of the kimonos are 100% silk. This is an example of one that sold for $200. I've sold several of these myself for around $220. So if you come across these kimonos, do not sleep on them. Now, Johnny Was tags vary a ton. They're gonna come in some more basic looking tags like this one, as well as more intricate tags that have unique embroideries right on the tag itself. Now, speaking of silk, this brings us to our next brand, Tommy Bahama. As a general rule, their men's items sell better than their women's items, and especially their loud prints. So this is a button-up shirt. This one sold for $29, but even just a solid color shirt like this in linen sold for $26. They've also done some collaborations with Disney, and so if you happen to come across any of these prints where they're incorporating Minnie Mouse or Mickey Mouse, you're gonna wanna make sure to grab those because these can sell for a ton of money. I sold a pair of shorts for around $50, but I wanna show you this shirt that sold for $120. This is a close-up of what that pattern looks like with Mickey Mouse. Next up is Hoka 11. Now these are all the rage when it comes to running, walking, or just general comfort shoes. I am seeing these everywhere. These are the shoes that have really thick soles and they're selling for around $20 to $80 depending on the condition and depending on the style. This is an example of a women's pair that sold for $50 with free shipping. And this is a men's pair that sold for $65. This next brand is one that I find somewhat regularly when I'm outsourcing. Every few trips I am finding this brand, and this is Buckle, or what you're gonna see on the tags, it might say BKE. So this is coming from Buckle, which is another mall brand, one of the better mall brands. We already talked about Torrid, but with Buckle specifically, their jeans are the items that are selling for the most money. They're generally selling for around that $20 to $30 range for both the men's as well as the women's jeans. This is an example of a pair of men's jeans that sold for $35, as well as another example of a pair of women's jeans that also sold for $35. Next up is another bag brand. I hope you're okay with me including bags on this list of clothing brands. It's clothing, it's an accessory, it's clothing related. If you're not currently already sourcing bags to resell, you are missing out on a lot of potential profit. Bags in general have a faster sell-through rate than just your average, shirt or pants or coat. So keep that in mind if you have not yet got into selling bags. And this next brand that we're going to talk about is called Timbuktu. This brand is most well known for their messenger bag, particularly their messenger bags that have a color block pattern to them. They're also known for their laptop backpacks and other bags to carry your tech gear. These are those color block messenger bags I was talking about. This is one that sold for $68, and then this is one that sold for $100. The price, of course, will depend on the condition as well as the size of the bag. So they do make these messenger bags in various sizes, and it will have that size on a tag inside of the bag. It'll say small, medium, or large, so make sure you're including the right size so that you don't get a return. This is an example of a backpack. This one sold for $59. You can quickly spot this brand when you see that little tornado swirl that is embroidered on the outside of all of their bags. This next brand is a brand that a lot of resellers miss because it doesn't look like a whole lot. Another tip here is that a lot of thrift stores are missing this brand as well. So if I say selling bras to you, what is the first brand that comes to mind? Probably Victoria's Secret, and I could make a bet that the local thrift stores in your area are marking Victoria's Secret bras way up. Well, I want to tell you about a brand that they don't know about and a lot of resellers don't know about. And this is a brand that is called Knix, K-N-I-X. Most of these bras don't have a lot of padding or underwire. They're kind of just a basic run-of-the-mill sports bra, but they're selling for around $20 to $30 on average. If you happen to come across these in the bins, they're easy to miss because they could get wadded up into a really small ball or, just be really flat and really easy to pass over. But keep your eye out for these because it does have a high resale value as well as a quick sell-through rate. This is an example of one that sold for $40 and then another example of one that sold for $26. And you can tell from these that there's not a whole lot to them. You can see how easy they could be to miss. While we're on the topic of intimate wear, we're gonna hit on another brand. Now, this is a brand that you probably think of as shapewear, but this company does make other items, and actually their non-shapewear items tend to do better. Now I was a little bit hesitant there because these items do have that shapewear capability built into them, but they're things like shorts and jeans and things that, people actually see. So the brand that I am referring to is Spanx. This is a big shapewear company. I'm sure you've heard of it before, but their clothing items do sell really well. This is a pair of shorts. This pair of shorts sold for $22. They make jeans and pants. This is an example of a pair of jeans that sold for $43. And then this is a pair of pants that sold for $40. All right, so this next brand probably wins the award for the best all-around brand. No matter what type of item you find, it's probably valuable. And this brand is the Western brand called Ariat. They make a huge variety of items from Western boots to jeans, to cowboy hats, and everything in between. So here's some examples of some Ariat items that have sold recently. This is a pair of women's jeans. This one sold for $35. And then these boots, these sold in used condition for $50. And then this shirt sold for almost $40 because of the unique cactus pattern on it. This is an example of what that Ariat tag will look like. Next up on the list is a company that you might think of as making shoes for nurses, but they make a whole lot of other styles of shoes. Yes, their nursing clogs do sell really well. This is an example of a pair that sold for $40, but there are so many other styles that this company makes, and they all sell so well and for a decent amount of money. This is a pair of sandals that sold for $70, as well as a pair of slip-on shoes that sold for $36. But don't overlook other items like winter boots or snow boots or lace-up tennis shoes. They really make all different types of footwear, and all of them sell well. Next up is another brand that's really easy to pass over, just like the Knix bra brand that we talked about, that's easy to get wadded up or rolled into a really tiny, small thing that's easy to pass over. This other brand is very similar in that regard, and this is the brand that is called Smartwool. Now, Smartwool is called that because they make washable wool items like socks or shirts or pants. And these items are high dollar value items. The resale value on these items is really good. And this is an example of a women's long sleeve shirt. This one sold for $25. And then this is an example of a t-shirt that sold for $24. This is another one that had a really unique print. And so this one sold for a little bit more. This one sold for $65. And of course, if you come across other things like their jackets, they're gonna sell for even more money, like this jacket that sold for $76. This next brand is a jean brand, and this is one that sells well for both men and women, and this is Rock and Roll Cowboy, or either Cowgirl, given who the item is for. And these jeans sell for in that $20 to $30 range. This is an example of a men's pair of jeans that sold for $34, and then a women's pair of jeans that sold for $35. All right, I am back with baby to finish up these last few brands to go through with you because she woke up from her nap. And third to the last, we're almost there. This is a brand called The Sack. This is a women's handbag brand that you may have heard of. They're really known for their crochet style of bags, but they do make a lot of other bags. I'm going to show you some examples of some sold items. This is a leather bag. This one sold for $30. And then recently I sold this really cute little phone holder. This one sold for $20. And then I also sold this crochet bag. This is a really unique design, so this one sold for a little bit more. Next up is a swimsuit brand, and maybe a lot of people overlook swimsuits, but these can be big money, and in particular, this brand called Miracle Suit. Now, these sell anywhere from, say, $20 up to $50 or even more. So I've got some examples here for you. This is a swimsuit that sold for $38. This is one that sold for a little bit on the higher side at $65, and then another one that sold for $45. And these are really about that shapewear. That's where that name Miracle Suit comes from, and they do hold their resale value well. Last but not least, I've saved a brand that I do come across on a very regular basis, so I've saved it for the end. She's got my notes here helping, and this is Vintage Wrangler men's shirt. These are Western snap style shirts. That's a tongue twister. And I've got some examples for you here of some sold items. So this shirt sold for $40. I've got another one here that sold for $45, and a lot of resellers are passing these over. This is one that sold for $55. And then this one is super unique. So this one sold for $98. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you check out my Bolo playlist, and we're gonna go ahead and wish you a happy rest of your day. Bye.